happy for her to be seeing that success. 8th grade science, we did very well there as well. We had a new teacher in that position, and I know she had a lot of support from Mrs. Shoemaker and her mentor, and so I'm excited to see those scores. Biology, we are below state average there. As I said, that is an improvement though from the previous year. We do have some consistency with one of the teachers in that position, and so we're excited for the future to continue to see that positive growth. Government, we've already talked about. We saw 10-digit growth there, so that's definitely a positive. We've got new curriculum resources there as well. That's definitely helping our students be prepared. The last area we're going to look at is our ACT scores. This area continues to be a concern. You can see that we are below the state average. Our average ACT scores are 18.9. The only district in the area lower is St. Clair at 18.8, and then Sullivan is tied with us. They have 18.9 as well. So we're going to talk about some solutions for that in just a moment. So some of the takeaways, growth areas. I don't want the high school to feel like I'm picking on them. We know that the high school has had an extremely large amount of turnover in not only these positions, but in the administrative positions as well. Every time you have a new teacher in that classroom, you're going to expect to see a decrease, and so consistency is going to be the key there. Another growth area is that academic growth based on the Missouri growth model, and then supporting our new teachers in tested areas. Some of the decreases that we did see were either brand new teachers or teachers who were new to that content or didn't have a lot of experience in that content. And so just helping support those teachers with the resources they need to be successful. Teacher efficacy, that was one thing that we talked about with the needs assessment as well. How do teachers perceive themselves and their ability to teach? I think that we have some self-confidence issues and efficacy issues happening because of frustrating things like the growth model and some of these scores, and I think that there's a level of frustration there. And then ACT scores are a growth area as well. I never like to end on negative strengths. We have to give a shout out to the middle school being above or at state average in every single tested area in both MPI and percentage proficient and advanced. That's a big deal. 5th grade scores being the highest in the area. Those government scores increasing by 10 digits. Elementary was at above state average in MPI in every single area, and then at 3 out of the 4 tested areas for percentage proficient and advanced. All science scores improved, and then that APR is still in the accredited range. So as we look to the future, I am a very solution focused person. I don't like to just give problems and then not give any answers. So I think there's several areas that we need to look at. Teacher retention and recruitment keeps coming up over and over. It came up in our needs assessment survey. I talked about this last year. Here we are talking about it again. We know it's research-based fact. It takes a minimum of 3 years, minimum, for a teacher to master their content. And that's if they stay in the same grade, if they stay in the same content, if they don't move buildings or move different classrooms. We have 26 teachers in our district that have less than 5 years experience. That's a significant percentage. We have 12 staff members who are not appropriately certified. That doesn't mean they're not doing a good job. That doesn't mean they're not going to be fabulous teachers, but they're not only learning how to teach, they're also learning their content, and they're going to school to get certified. That's overwhelming. That's a lot going on there. We are not getting certified applicants. That is an issue. That is a concern. When you look at Mo teaching jobs or Mo REAP, all of those, you know, websites where they post jobs. There are currently over 830 teaching and administrative positions open in the state of Missouri for next school year. That's a lot. How do we get them here? How do we attract those certified teachers, but not just certified, high quality, you know, advanced degrees? What would draw them here? Okay, and that's kind of what leads into the next thing, that perception of our community, that perception of our school. We don't have places for teachers to live. A lot of our teachers live in Sullivan or they live in Rolla. Well, if they can work at either of those places and make anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000 more, they're just waiting for a position to open. Why wouldn't they? We have to have a draw here. Every time there's a headline in our newspaper about transgender drama or board drama and all of this stuff, that's a negative perception on our school. People don't want to work where they think that there's constant drama and turmoil. All of the stuff on social media, I myself completely shut down my social media because it's frustrating and it's not helping anyone. It's not helping us get better. I think some people think that they're holding us accountable, but I disagree. I think it's hurting us in the long run. And another thing that can't be ignored is our average teacher salary. We're currently $10,000 under the state average. Our average salary for a teacher, this is right off of DESE's website, our average salary for a teacher is $44,000. The average salary for across the state is $54,000. You know, and that's the average. You know, so you have teachers who have been here longer who are making more. Your newbies are only making $38 because of that minimum base salary grant. That's the only reason they are. So I think all of those things are something that needs to be discussed, and we need to come up with solutions to these problems. In terms of ACT scores, why we should be offering ACT prep classes. Most other districts do. Some do it as a class at night where kids can come in and take it for like 3 days in a row. Some people do it as a class during the day. I think that we seriously need to look at, can we have elective classes, ACT prep math, ACT prep English, ACT prep science, and help our students with those scores. Another issue is that student apathy and disengagement. You know, we have some chronic absenteeism issues. You saw that on our APR. We lost APR points because of absenteeism. We also have students who just flat out refuse to work. They flat out refuse to participate. They won't turn in their work. And we preach to our teachers, student engagement, student engagement, student engagement. But at what point do we have to hold some students accountable? We're not here to entertain them. This is not the movie theater. This is not a video game. You know, so that constant battle. And then you go and you call the parents and hey, they just keep putting their head down. They won't participate. They won't ask any questions. They won't turn anything in. I can't get them to do anything either. Okay, so what are we supposed to do if as a parent you can't get them to do anything either? I've actually personally had a parent tell me, would you just stop calling me? I know they're not going to do anything and I'm not going to make them. Okay, well, we're accountable for that student as well. And I'm not saying that all of our parents are like that. I'm not saying that all of our students, we have some amazing parents. We have some amazing parents in this room and some amazing students in this room. However, this is not just a one-person issue. This is a community-wide issue. And I think that it's something that we have to be aware of, step one, and then we have to start working towards a solution together. I also think that we need to consider an instructional coach position at the elementary school. Mrs. Pope has been working her tail off between the high school and the middle school. She helps with not only instructional coaching with the teachers, but she also helps with classroom management. She helps with technology issues. She helps train teachers with technology. She helps with the data collection aspect. With all of the new teachers that we have at the elementary, the new young teachers, I think that this is an area that needs to be considered at the elementary school. I also think that we need to look at class sizes in kindergarten through 2nd grade. The state average in those grade levels is 16. The MSIP recommendation is 17 students per classroom. DESE has our average at 18. However, we have 1st grade classrooms with 21 kids in them. When you look at the learning gaps that have been identified, from the COVID pandemic, the extreme behaviors that we're seeing, we are seeing student behaviors in the lower grade levels that we have not seen before. Mr. Cross has had to give multiple long-term suspensions to K2 students. That's unheard of. So we need to be supporting our teachers. If we're going to be expecting these higher test scores, then we need to give them the support as we're moving these kids through so that they can focus on instruction and they're not constantly redirecting students on their behavior. So those are some thoughts out of my receiver's head for looking towards the future. We do have a district leadership team meeting coming up that we're going to be discussing these things. The admin teams are taking the data back to their steering committees, their building leadership teams, and working on their building specific plans. The CSIP committee will meet again this spring and we'll look at some of this stuff. So, lots of information for you, but as I said, I don't want to end on a negative. I think that we have a lot of positive things going. I think that we've got to continue to communicate and get on the same page so that we can all move forward together. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. That was amazing.
I do, actually. Need a lot of water.
Water.
Yes, some water.
I got you.
I mean, I wasn't asking a question.
Let's be specific.
I mean,
Yeah. So Ms. Seaver did a great job highlighting that and going through it. And again, these are just challenges not only for us, but everywhere. And so I think you can see just through the data, I am so proud of our teachers for doing what they do. We're academically strong. And I think that's why myself, I'm sure Ms. Seaver and others, but students across the state are frustrated with the new model, saying this is not represent what teachers are doing. And so I just kind of took some notes. The growth model, math is based off the student's performance in ELA, math, and then the growth model is you're compared to like schools. So an easy example is if we have a student who hits a home run, it goes over the fence by an inch, you would say, great job, that's a home run. The model is if the compared school that you're up against hits it to the 3rd deck, they get the growth points and our student does not. So explain to me the fairness of representing our kids still hit a home run. So these are the questions that the statewide district accountability committee really wants answers to say, hey, how do we adequately portray our school? So just kind of adding into that, I proud of myself for not jumping in because I get passionate too about these are just things that we have to look at and no, they're not just challenges here but everywhere across the state and really across the nation. So we'll continue to work on solutions for that, but again, just nice job, Ms. Seaver.
Thank you. It took a lot of time to compile all that data.
they have to put it in our terms that we can understand. So when you don't see it every day, it's hard to understand.
Next item on our agenda is Board of Education proposed agenda items, and I believe this month we have none. Next item is resident agenda items, and I believe we have none. So the next thing is we need to consider when we're going to have our next regular board meeting. It would be tentatively scheduled for Thursday, February the 15th. there's a boys' basketball game that day. But
I make that motion on the 15th. Second.
there you go. There's a motion, there's a second. Angela?
Motion by Tammy Palmer, seconded by Sherry Shooty, that the February board meeting be scheduled on Thursday, February 15th, 2024 at 6 p.m. with closed session to follow. Lisa? Yes. Jennifer?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Roger is absent. Tiffany?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
6 yes, 1 absent.
Better schedule it at the right time. Or I'll be showing up some other time. Next item on our agenda is to go into closed session after a 10-minute recess.
Motion by Sherry Shooty, seconded by Lisa Elrod, to go into closed session in accordance with provisions of section 610.021, subsection 3 and 13 of the revised statutes of Missouri in order to discuss personnel, excuse me, after a 10-minute recess. Jennifer?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Roger's absent. Tiffany?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
6 yes, 1 absent.